You think you're a good man. You believe you're logical and fair. So why does every small disagreement with a woman in your life spiral into a massive, exhausting fight? You blame her for being too emotional. You blame her for being irrational. You have convinced yourself that the problem is her. Because the alternative, that your own strategy is completely, fundamentally flawed, is too painful to consider. But the cycle will never end until you look in the mirror. If you're hearing this, you're ready to stop blaming the world and start learning the truth about communication, a truth that will give you the power to create peace. If you are hearing my voice right now, it is not an accident. Your own energy has pulled this message into your orbit because you are ready to hear it. You are tired of the pointless fights, the walking on eggshells, and the confusion. You are ready for a truth that will set you free from the cycle of conflict. So listen closely. You believe that arguments with women are about the topic being discussed. You think you are debating facts, logistics, or who was right. This is your first and most profound mistake. You are so lost in the words that you are completely blind to the real conversation. You arm yourself with logic. You build your case like a lawyer, and you present your flawless evidence. Then you stand there, baffled, as she becomes more and more upset. You think to yourself, she's being irrational. No, you are being a fool. You have brought a calculator to a symphony. If you genuinely enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Let me tell you a story about a man named David. David is you. He is a good man. He is smart. He works hard. And he loves his partner, Emily. One evening, they were supposed to meet friends for dinner at 8. David, trying to finish one last work email, made them late. They arrived at 8:15. Emily was quiet in the car. And when they sat down at the table, she was visibly tense. Later that night, she said, "I was embarrassed that we were late." And what did David do? What do you do? He immediately defended his logic. He said, "It was only 15 minutes. It's not a big deal. I had to send that email. We didn't miss anything important." He presented his case. He proved with facts that her feeling was unnecessary. He thought he was solving the problem. What he was actually communicating was, your feelings are wrong. Your reaction is invalid. You should not feel the way you feel. He was trying to win the argument, but the argument was not about 15 minutes. It was about her feeling disrespected. It was about her feeling like she was not a priority. David, in his quest to be right, completely ignored the real issue. The conversation was never about the clock. It was about the connection. You make this exact mistake over and over again. You think your job is to correct her facts. You believe that if you can just show her the flaw in her reasoning, she will calm down and agree with you. It is the most arrogant and ineffective strategy a man can possibly use. It is like trying to put out a fire by explaining to the fire that it has no logical reason to be burning. What you fail to understand is a fundamental law of human nature. Women operate as emotional mirrors. They do not just hear your words, they feel the energy behind your words. They absorb your emotional state, and then they reflect it back to you, often with greater intensity. When you came at David's situation with defensive, dismissive energy, what did Emily do? She got more upset. She escalated. David saw this escalation as proof that she was being irrational. He couldn't see that he was the one feeding the fire. He gave her a spark of dismissal, and she mirrored it back as a flame of anger. He then reacted to her anger with his own frustration, and she mirrored that back as rage. Within 10 minutes, they were in a full-blown fight about David never listening, about him not caring, about a dozen other issues from the past. David walked away thinking, how did 15 minutes turn into this? He was blind. He started the war, and then blamed her for fighting in it. This is not her flaw. It is her design. This emotional sensitivity is a feature, not a bug. It is the very system that allows a mother to feel the needs of a child who cannot speak. It is the system that creates deep bonds and intuition. Your mistake is that you are interacting with this incredibly sensitive system with the grace of a sledgehammer. You think you are being calm and rational, but she hears the subtle irritation in your tone. She feels the judgment in your silence. She senses the condescending energy behind your logical explanation. You are communicating 100 different negative things without even realizing it. You are leaking emotional poison. And then you act surprised when she feels sick. So, your first step is to abandon the foolish goal of winning the argument. Your new goal is to understand and manage the emotional reality of the interaction. The topic is almost never the real topic. Her emotional state is the topic, always. When Emily said she was embarrassed, she wasn't asking for a debate. She was making an emotional bid. She was showing you a vulnerable part of herself and watching to see what you would do with it. She was testing subconsciously to see if you were a safe place for her feelings. David failed the test. You fail the test every time you choose to be right instead of choosing to be connected. So what does the correct path look like? It begins with a radical shift in your thinking. You must accept that her emotional reaction is valid, even if you don't understand it. Even if it seems illogical to you, her feelings are not up for debate. They simply are. Imagine if David had responded differently. Imagine if, when Emily said she was embarrassed, he put down his phone, looked her in the eyes and said, "You're right. I'm sorry I made us late. It was disrespectful to you and our friends, and I can see why you would feel embarrassed. I was focused on work, and I lost track of time. It won't happen again." What happens in that scenario? There is no argument to be had. There is no fire to escalate. He is not admitting that 15 minutes is a catastrophe. He is simply acknowledging the validity of her emotional experience. He is choosing connection over being right. He is showing her that she is safe with him, that her feelings matter to him. This is not weakness, chosen ones. This is the highest form of strength. It is the strength to put the health of the relationship above the validation of your own ego. The weak man argues about the 15 minutes. The powerful man heals the emotional rift in 15 seconds. You have been taught to fight for your point, to hold your ground, and that is necessary with other men. In the world of masculine competition, logic is the weapon, and being right is the victory. But you are bringing the weapons of the battlefield into the sacred space of your relationship, and you are destroying it from the inside out. Your journey begins here. It begins with the humility to admit that your entire approach has been wrong. You have been blaming the mirror for showing you a reflection you don't like. It is time to stop looking at the mirror and start looking at yourself. Your emotional output is determining her emotional response. Master your own energy, and you will become the master of your interactions. Let me ask you, chosen ones, think about the last pointless argument you had. What was the logical topic and what was the real unspoken emotional issue underneath it all? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience can serve as a lesson for us all. You have listened to the lesson of the emotional mirror. You have seen your own foolishness in the story of David. A flicker of understanding has ignited within you. You have realized that your anger, your irritation, and your defensive logic are the fuel for the very fires you claim to hate. And so, you make a decision. You decide to change. But how do you change? You, in your infinite wisdom, make the next predictable mistake. You swing the pendulum to the opposite extreme. You conclude that if your emotions are the problem, then the solution must be to have no emotions at all. You attempt to become a robot. You think this is progress. You mistake emotional suppression for emotional mastery. You stand before a woman, a creature of deep emotional currents, and you offer her the personality of a stone. You speak in a flat, controlled monotone. You drain your face of all expression. You believe you are projecting calm, rational authority. You think you look strong and unflappable. Let me tell you what you actually look like. You look like a man who has died inside. You sound cold, distant, and disconnected. You believe you are being mature, but she experiences it as punishment. She feels a chilling emptiness where a connection used to be. You think you are avoiding a fight, but you are actually creating a deeper and more terrifying crisis for her. To a woman, emotional silence is not golden. It is the sound of abandonment. Your logical mind cannot grasp this. You think, I am not yelling. I'm not angry. I am speaking calmly. This is what she wants, right? Wrong. You are a fool who has learned the first half of a lesson and declared himself a master. When you remove all emotion from your voice, she does not hear a calm man. She hears a man who is checking out of the relationship. Her ancient biological programming kicks in, and it screams a single, terrifying message. I am losing him. He is leaving. A woman can handle your anger. She can fight with your frustration. She can navigate your sadness. What she cannot bear is your absence. An angry man is still an engaged man. A frustrated man is still a connected man. But a man who is emotionally blank is a ghost, and her response to this ghost is often panic. This is why she escalates. When you give her that cold, robotic energy, she will often poke and prod you. She will say things to get a rise out of you. You, in your robotic state, see this as her creating drama for no reason. You think, I was being perfectly calm, and she just attacked me. You fail to see that her attack is a desperate, clumsy attempt to get a sign of life from you. She is subconsciously trying to get you to feel something, even if it's anger, because any emotion is proof that you are still there. Any connection is better than no connection. She would rather have you angry and present than calm and absent. Read that again. The solution is not to become an emotionless void. The solution is to become a master of your emotional tone. You must learn to separate negative, reactive emotions from positive, connecting emotions. You must strip the irritation, contempt, and judgment from your voice, while intentionally keeping the warmth, the care, and the love. This is the path of the leader. It is what I call warm firmness. You remain the warm, loving foundation of the relationship, even when you are addressing a problem or setting a boundary. The warmth communicates safety and connection. The firmness communicates strength and standards. A woman will follow a man who can embody both. She will fight a man who only offers one or the other. Let's return to David and Emily. A month has passed since the dinner incident. David has been working on his defensiveness. Now a new problem arises. He checks their joint bank account and sees a $2,000 charge for a new designer sofa he knew nothing about. The old David would have exploded. The slightly less foolish David, the one who just learned lesson 1, might try the robot approach. He would wait for Emily to get home, stand with his arms crossed, and say in a flat, dead voice, "We need to talk. You spent $2,000 without consulting me. This is a violation of our financial agreement. Explain yourself. How does that conversation end?" It ends in a massive fight. Emily feels ambushed, accused, and controlled. She doesn't hear a responsible partner. She hears a cold accountant. She feels like a misbehaving child being called to the principal's office. She will not respond with cooperation. She will respond with rebellion and resentment. Now, let us imagine a different David. A David who is learning the art of warm firmness. He sees the charge and takes a deep breath. He centers himself. He reminds himself, the goal is connection, not correction. When Emily gets home, he greets her with a hug and a kiss, just like any other day. He maintains the baseline of warmth. Later, when they are sitting together, he says, "Hey, can we talk about something for a minute?" His tone is gentle and inviting, not accusatory. He opens with connection. I want us to be a team in everything we do, especially when it comes to building our future together. You are my partner in this. Then he introduces the issue, framed as a shared problem. I was looking at our account today, and I saw the charge for the new sofa. It made me feel a little anxious because we hadn't talked about it, and a purchase that big affects our savings plan. Notice what he did. He did not say, "You were irresponsible." He said, "It made me feel anxious." He is owning his emotional reaction, not blaming her for it. He continues, "It's not about the sofa itself, but about us being on the same page. It's really important to me that we make these big decisions as a team." He has been completely firm about the boundary. Big purchases must be discussed, but his firmness is wrapped in a blanket of warmth, love, and shared goals. He has made it about us versus the problem, not me versus you. He hasn't triggered her defenses. He has invited her into a partnership. What is Emily's likely response? She will not feel attacked. She will feel seen. She might explain her reasoning, but the conversation will be collaborative, not combative. It ends not with a fight, but with a stronger agreement and a deeper sense of teamwork. One path leads to resentment and division. The other leads to respect and unity. You have been given two choices your entire life: be an aggressive hothead or a passive pushover. And when those fail, you invent a third terrible option: be a cold, unfeeling robot. All of these are paths of failure. The fourth path, the path of the chosen, is warm firmness. It is the ability to be strong and loving at the same time. It is the core of masculine leadership in a relationship. This skill is not easy. It requires you to be conscious when you would rather be reactive. It requires you to be brave enough to remain warm when you feel angry. It is the work of a lifetime, but it is the only work that leads to peace. Chosen ones, I want you to think about this. Have you ever tried the robot approach, thinking you were being calm and rational, only to have it backfire completely? Describe what happened in the comments. Let's expose this failed strategy for what it is. You have walked the first two paths. You have seen the foolishness of the logical warrior and the emptiness of the emotional robot. You have begun to practice the art of warm firmness, learning to hold your ground without losing your heart. Many men stop here. They are content to have simply achieved peace. But for you, the chosen ones, peace is not the final destination. It is merely the ground upon which you will build something far greater. The final stage of this journey is not about avoiding fights. It is about transforming the very energy of conflict into a force for deeper connection, trust, and attraction. This is the path of the leader. It is a form of emotional alchemy, and it is the rarest and most powerful skill a man can possess. First, you must understand how the ordinary man responds to a woman's emotional peak, when she is truly upset, when the tears are flowing, when her voice is raised, when her fear or anger is at its most intense. The average man panics. His own nervous system goes into alarm. And from this state of panic, he does one of three pathetic things. First, he becomes a child. He matches her emotion with his own. She yells, so he yells louder. She cries, so he acts wounded and angry. He meets her fire with his own fire, and together they burn the house down. Second, he becomes a statue. This is the robot you learned about, but now frozen by fear. He completely shuts down. He withdraws, stonewalls, and offers nothing. He leaves her alone in her emotional storm, proving himself to be an unreliable shelter. Third, he becomes a frantic repairman. Her emotion makes him deeply uncomfortable, so his only goal is to make it stop. He offers clumsy solutions. He says things like, "Don't cry," or "You're overreacting." He tries to fix her feelings, not because he cares about her, but because he cannot handle his own discomfort. All three of these men fail. The child, the statue, and the repairman are all boys, reacting to a force they cannot understand. The leader charts a fourth path. He becomes the oak tree in the hurricane. He does not try to stop the wind. He does not get angry at the rain. He simply stands. His roots are deep, and he provides a calm, unshakable presence in the midst of the chaos. He demonstrates, through his very being, that he is strong enough to handle her storm. This is the ultimate test. And this, chosen ones, is what a woman's heart craves more than anything. A man whose emotional center is so solid that her own emotional waves can crash against him and find peace. When you can provide this, you become her refuge. You make her feel safe on the deepest possible level. And a woman who feels truly safe with a man will give him her deepest trust and admiration. Let us watch David face his final test. He has been offered his dream job in a city 500 miles away. It is a life-changing opportunity. In his excitement, he accepted it, thinking Emily would naturally be overjoyed for him and for them. He gravely miscalculated. When he tells her, she does not celebrate. She crumbles. "You accepted it?" she says, her voice trembling. "Without even talking to me. My family is here. My job is here. My whole life is here. How could you do that?" The tears come, followed by anger. "You just decided to uproot my entire life without a single conversation. You didn't think about me at all." The old David would have become the child, defending himself loudly. The robot David would have become the statue, coldly stating the logical benefits of the move. The repairman David would have tried to fix it, saying, "I'll find you a great job there. You'll make new friends." But this is the new David, the leader. He does not do any of those things. He watches her. He listens. He feels the raw pain in her voice. He absorbs it all without reacting. He does not let her panic become his panic. He stands in the hurricane. He takes a breath, and when he speaks, his voice is filled with that unshakable warmth. He says, "You are 100% right. I made a huge mistake. I was so caught up in my own excitement that I completely failed to see this from your side. I failed you as a partner, and I am so sorry." He does not make excuses. He does not defend his logic. He takes full ownership of the emotional damage he has caused. He has just validated her entire reality. The storm inside her, which was raging against his decision, suddenly has nowhere to go. It has met a soft, immovable strength. He moves closer and says, "Forget about the job for a second. Forget about the logistics. All that matters to me right now is you. Tell me everything you are feeling. Don't hold anything back. I am here and I will not leave." This is the masterstroke. He has made her feelings more important than the problem itself. He has proven that her emotional world is his highest priority. He is not trying to solve the problem of the move. He is trying to heal the wound in the connection between them. What happens next is magic. Because she feels completely heard and validated, the storm of emotion begins to subside. She feels safe, and from that place of safety, her mind can now shift. She moves from seeing him as the enemy to seeing him once again as her partner. The conversation changes from me versus you to us versus this very difficult situation. They may still decide the move is not right. They may decide to go. The outcome is irrelevant. What is relevant is that David turned a potential relationship-ending crisis into one of the most profound bonding experiences of their lives. He did not just avoid a fight. He used the conflict to prove his character as a leader. He showed her, through action, that he was a man she could trust with her deepest vulnerabilities. And that, chosen ones, is the foundation of unwavering attraction. Your journey is now clear. You must first stop being the problem by mastering your reactive emotions. You must then learn the technique of warm firmness to address issues without creating conflict. And finally, you must learn to become the calm center, transforming moments of crisis into opportunities to demonstrate your strength and deepen her trust. This is not about tricks or manipulation. It is about becoming a man of profound emotional integrity, a man who leads not through force or control, but through an unwavering strength of character that makes women feel safe, seen, and inspired to follow. The peace in your home is not her responsibility. It is yours. It is the natural result of your own inner peace and emotional mastery.